Okay, I think we are set to go. So, let me go ahead and get started here. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. So let me switch across to the game itself. We've got a few things to cover here in patch 10, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. As always, we are still in very early alpha. We're working towards a release date in 2023. And, been working a lot with community feedback, helping the community prioritize, or the community is helping us prioritize what things they want to see, in what order, so that we can make sure that we really keep a focus on what people would like to see and when they'd like to see it. And the biggest priority for patch 10 was actually piloting from the inside of the ship. That was something people were really excited to have happen. So we built the interiors, we got that all set up, and so now we're going to show off that first thing. Now, as you can see, we have the overview of controls set up here. This gives you 30 seconds of, for the alpha anyways. Eventually it'll be configurable and you can go to it whenever you like. But for the alpha, 30 seconds of an overview of what all the controls are and what they do. Now, the left special, or middle mouse button, it's the left special on Xbox and PlayStation gamepads, which is the little two squares. We'll switch between the views, and that now includes some interior views. Great, thank you for the confirmation there, Jess. I appreciate it. Okay, so as always, the first thing that you can do, and I'll try to move my camera as smoothly as I can here, is you can come in here and you can adjust your ship however you like. I've built this one. Whoops, we now have a save game, so the camera sometimes can go really far inside the ship. So we now have everything set. Eventually you'll be able to switch out the different bridges. That's not ready quite yet. We still need to make the bridge for the other Conn. As you can see, there's a couple different Conns that we could be using. Right, we could switch over to this one, for example. This one will give you a view with absolutely no A-pillars in the way. It's just a completely, almost pornographic view of space that will be coming through the view screen there. A little bit different interior layout. And then this is the one that we've got the bridge configured for right now. Any of the colors will do, obviously. And this one does have some pillars, but it has a really big overhead kind of view. So if you're using like a VR headset or something like that, you're going to get just a really amazing view of space and everything else. So we'll go ahead and apply that. So far we haven't set up the cost or anything for these, so everybody has all of them unlocked. Everybody can buy all of them. The Flight Academy is eventually going to be down that direction. We've got other stuff coming in for down this direction. Got these guys who at the moment can't do anything, but maybe soon. You have to pardon the screen lag just a little bit. OBS is kind of taxing. I'm trying to stream at a slightly higher resolution than I usually stream, and it's a little bit more taxing. So here is one of the characters that's going to be an NPC in the next patch. The goal, if we can accomplish it, is to get the quests and missions and the NPCs working for the next patch. We're going to try to get that for patch 11. Fingers crossed. So as always, you can come over here and get a job. That job is too big for me. As you can see, if we go to the Y, as you see the Y there on the screen, it'll be an I if you're on your PC, and you can use the info key or the I button. And you see we don't meet the requirements for this one, because this requires a lot more than our ship can handle. So let's switch to a different job. So this one, from the Safe and Easy Company, is a tiny job. It doesn't pay much, and it goes to the moon. Well, the moon is handy because we're heading there anyways. So we'll go ahead and we'll take that job. Okay? So we can go back. These right now would show you where it's heading, but this doesn't work at the moment. It will eventually. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this job. So now you see that we have that job set up there. And we are going to head on out. Now, as always, if you right-click, you can get back mouse control if you want to use the mouse for something. If I have a button that isn't working quite yet, some of them are not gamepad safe. And then if you press right-click again, it switches you back to the mouse-look mode. You can see that we now have a little heads-up display telling us that we need to go over there to drop this off. Oh, I ended up getting the best jump one instead, which is at Waypoint Alpha. So, first up, we've got the new piloting view. Now, the new piloting view allows you to actually like look around the ship and everything, but it will snap back to that behind view. And new in patch 10 will actually be options for things that you couldn't do before, like you can change the zoom levels and whatnot. So the first one that you switch out to is actually going to be the camera panning view, and this basically gives you a full UI hidden view where you can do screenshots or just look at things, whatever. Then we've got the interior view. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. We've got our dashboard. This is just a mock-up dashboard. This isn't the final, but it will do for now. And you can see that we can also look around inside the ship. We can see, you know, all kinds of stuff that's going on. We have another interior view. This is the captain view, essentially. And this one gives you a chance to see... I'm trying to go slow here so I don't make anybody nauseous, because I know fast movements can cause discomfort. So this lets you see the whole interior. Now, right about here on the interior is actually where you can put another station. Then you've got the back doors here. And then here is where you could put another station over here. And these are stations that you'll be able to unlock and purchase and apply inside the game. Okay, so let's go ahead and take off in this view, because why not? So first we're going to push over on the D-pad to get a little space away from the docking port. Then we're going to use the left stick. And you see how it recenters if I'm off center, like I'm over here, for example. As soon as I let go of that stick, it's going to go ahead and recenter me. And then we're going to go ahead and apply a little bit of throttle with the left or with the right bumper. And we are going to take off. And as you can see, we can look from back here. And this view, as I was saying before, now supports zoom. So you can now push down on the sticks, the R3, L3, to actually control the zoom on the sticks. And there's a very small bug in patch 10 where I have the views offset by 1 by default. But after you change the views the first time, that fixes itself. That's already been fixed, but it hasn't been pushed out yet. Oh, and because we're in Waypoint Alpha, we actually need to go very, very close to where we are right now to drop off this package. Okay, so our delivery is complete, and let's head on out to the moon where we were heading. So full throttle, off to the moon. So the big things that we're showing off in patch 10 are the new multiple views. And as you can tell, the lighting in the views is all completely dynamic. So in ray tracing or whatever, this is going to look really pretty fantastic. And, you know, the views track with your motion and everything, so you can rotate the ship or whatever you'd like to do, and it will, you know, keep that in there. There's a little bit of judder that comes in with the interior camera that I need to sort out. I think I have the camera lag set a little too high or a little too low, so there's a little bit of judder at very high speeds, but we'll get that sorted. I mean, this is, after all, the very first time it's showing up. Yes, and I appreciate that you like the customizable bridges. You'll be able to customize the layout of the panels and which interior package that you pick. There'll be a few different interiors, so you can change things like if you don't like these chairs. These are, after all, the basic chairs. There's a few other chair designs you'll be able to pick from, things like that. And then, of course, there's going to be different Conns will have different bridges that will go with them, but they'll be along the same general line. So if you go with one versus the other, you'll... Okay, so you notice now that we're at a much higher speed, now that we're at 10 kilometers a second, there's a little bit of juddering in the seats. So we'll get that sorted out. That's a camera lag thing, I think. So as always, you can hit scan and you can see some details. Now your brakes are going to turn on as soon as you hit scan because I don't want you to crash into whatever you're looking at. But you'll eventually be able to do things like, you know, see interesting things about that, look at jobs that are available, choose to land, things like that. This time we're just going to go for it and we're just going to land. Now landing is still very buggy. We're working on it. We're getting it improved. The performance needs to be improved. A bunch of things need to be improved. But this is the first instance of landing of it. That's actually the landing sequence for the planet, which isn't turned on quite yet. But we're actually going to be landing on the moon here and checking out the site that we added in patch 9 for one of the rescue missions. So you can see our rescue mission is down there. And we can do this in whatever view we like, really. That's kind of the beauty of it, is we can just sort of, you know, tuddle on down there. And you can see that there's some performance tuning that we definitely need to work on the moon itself. And that's actually been the top priority for this last week, has been the performance tuning for the moon itself. Because the performance on the moon is not great. Oops. And we landed too close to the exit point and got kicked out. Well, like I said, the moon is fairly buggy. We'll get it fixed. It's not the end of the world. Let me go ahead and relaunch that there, and we'll get on to some of the other stuff that we've added in 10. Yeah, that's the beauty of alpha, is it's very alpha. So, okay, so the other things that we added in 10, let's see, we covered the zoom, we covered the interior. Oh yes, we also changed the views up a little bit. So one of the things that we changed in the views is when you're in the interior view here, which is the newly available view. This actually is a multiplayer compatible view. So we're working very hard to get multiplayer functioning. And you can see here that reflections are working and everything. Though they're not, you know, flawless, but they're working. So this will actually be capable of being a view that you use in multiplayer. So when you're in there and you're looking at another ship, like let's go ahead and move away from this a little bit, and we'll come over to this ship just a little bit here. Brakes, brakes, brakes. It's hard to stop in space, you know. Okay. So when we come to our interior view, let's move it in enough that I can actually see properly. So when you come up to another ship, the interior view is a multiplayer capable view, so you'll be able to actually see other ships, you know, in detail from fairly close-up perspective if you want to. If you were to say, for example, want to salvage or something of that nature, you'd be able to do so. So there's definitely reasons to interact with the other ships, and there will be an interaction screen that will show up on other ships soon. That screen will actually have to do with it'll be similar to the screen that you see for planets, with scanning and all that other kind of stuff. We've actually done a bunch of work this week that's not yet in patch 10, that's going to be in patch 11, on tuning the interior textures to get, you know, a bit more performance. Up to this point in the game, we have not actually done really any tuning at all. It's been all about adding new features and just getting them working. So we're doing our first tuning run just to make sure that we get the station tuned up a little bit, and to make sure that we get the landing area tuned up a little bit. And then people will be able to do whatever they would like to do. Now, we're not promising multiplayer at this point. It's on our list of things we would very much like to have, but it is certainly not something that we can say is absolutely going to be a thing. Among the things that we're adding to support multiplayer, however, is we'll be adding the instanced objects, so that things like the station will go away when you go far enough away from them that you can't really see them anyways. They'll unload from memory to try and reduce the footprint. We're going to be doing things with the planets landing, so that you can actually go between the different planets in the galaxy with your crew, because that was very important for us to be able to add. So there's a lot of things like that that still are going to require a lot of effort, and we're not anywhere near ready to do yet, but we are working on them. And if we can get multiplayer cracked, we will be delivering it as soon as we can. And the goal is for like a Valheim style, you know, 4-person kind of thing. The fact that it changes at all is exciting. I'm happy to hear that you like that, because that's one of my favorite features. And I really wanted to get, you know, to get the fact that you could actually have an interior that mattered. For example, these screens right here in the center are probably going to be replaced by actual camera views. So you'll be able to have like a docking view, so you could look over at the docking camera. So if you're using VR, for example, you can have a heads-up display, which will be sort of like the one here that shows the power and the heat. And then you'll be able to have like actual controls that perhaps mean something. We'll see. But I believe that's all we have for you for this week. So let me go ahead and see if you have any questions. And I'll allow for the lag here because my lag on the YouTube questions is about 60 seconds. So folks, any questions that you have, please go ahead and drop them in the chat, and I will address them as fast as I can. And you see we're going into drift mode right now, where our engines are off, but we have not engaged braking. So you see that our speed is not dropping. Okay. Well, in that case, I will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate you dropping by. I appreciate you dropping by if you drop by in the future when it's not actually a live patch session. Thank you very much, and have a fantastic weekend.